Hi everyone, this is Mrs. G.A. and today we are going to learn how to find the area and circumference of a circle. So first let's talk about the circumference of a circle. So remember, circumference is just the measure of the outside of whatever polygon you're measuring. So it'd be the total distance around the circle. So there are two formulas you can use to find the circumference. The first one is 2 times pi times r. And r represents the radius of your circle. Remember, the radius goes from the center directly to your circle. Or you can use the formula pi times d, where d is the diameter. So the reason why this works is if you have two radii right next to each other like this, it makes a diameter. So twice your radius is always equal to your diameter. Now, just in case you're not super familiar with this variable is called pi, and it represents an irrational number that goes on forever and ever and ever. So a good decimal approximation you can use for pi is 3.14. Your scientific calculator should also have a pi button that you can use instead of 3.14, so your answer will be a little bit more accurate. So again, the formula is 2 times pi times the radius, or pi times the diameter, which is just 2 radii. Okay, and then there's a different formula that we're going to use to find the area of the circle. So essentially we're just saying how much space is inside the circle. So the area of a circle can be found with the formula pi times your radius squared. So notice here we are only squaring your radius and then we multiply it by pi. Okay, so let's look at example 1. So this says find the area and circumference of a circular light fixture with a diameter of 10 inches. So let's sketch a quick picture. So this says the diameter is 10 inches. So remember, diameter goes through the center. So this total is 10. So we also can infer from this that the radius of our circle is 5, right? The radius is always half of the diameter. So to find the circumference, we can use that second formula, pi times d, because we're given the diameter. So pi times 10. And try to use the pi button on your scientific calculator. And then we can get the decimal approximation that the circumference is approximately 31.4 inches. We'll round to the nearest tenth. Okay, to find the area, we're going to use the area formula. So we're going to do pi times the radius, so be careful here. For this formula, we need the radius squared. So remember, when you're squaring something, it's not the same as doubling it, you're multiplying it by itself. So here we're actually doing 25 times pi. So again, let's use that pi button on your calculator, and that gives us approximately 78.5. Now here we do need to write our answer in inches squared. Any area, our unit needs to be squared. For circumference, it's just a distance, so our units are never squared. Okay, let's look at example 2. So here, a rectangular piece of cloth is 3 feet by 5 feet. So let's draw that out really quick. So essentially it means that one of your side lengths of the rectangle is 3 feet, which means the other side is also 3, and then 6 and 6. What is the area of the largest circle that can be cut from the cloth? Round to the nearest square inch. So we know that the limiting factor for our circle is going to be this dimension. So our circle would have to be somewhere here. Now, it doesn't matter if it's centered directly in the middle or kind of off to the left or right. We know that this length of 3 is going to be our limiting factor. So our largest possible diameter is 3 feet. And if our largest diameter is 3 feet, that means that our largest radius is 1.5 feet, or 1.5 feet. I'm sorry, let's change this direction. So we're rounding to the nearest square foot, not the nearest square inch, so our units match. Okay, so we know that our radius is going to be 1.5 feet, and they want to know what's the area of the largest circle. So let's use that in our formula. So area equals pi times our radius squared. Again, make sure you are squaring 1.5 and then multiplying by pi. So pi times 1.5 squared, we should get an area of approximately 7 square feet, or feet squared. So notice here they asked us to round to the nearest square foot. So my calculator shows 7.068. So if we're now rounding to the nearest whole number, or the nearest square foot, it would be 7. Okay, and last, let's look down here at example 3. So here we're asked to find the circumference of the circle that has an area of 45 inches squared. And here we're going to use 3.14 instead of pi. So we're going to use a decimal approximation. So far all we know about the circle is the area. So if we used our area formula, what we could find, since we know A, we could find the radius. So let's start by doing that. So our area is 45. Here we were asked to use the approximation 3.14 for pi, which is a really common thing, and then r squared. So we'll start by dividing both sides by 3.14. So we get r squared equals 45 divided by 3.14. I'm not going to plug it into my calculator yet. I'll wait till the very end. So at this point, I would usually take the plus or minus square root of both sides to clear my square. However, our radius should always be positive. So here I'm just going to take the positive square root of both sides. In your calculator, make sure you're taking the square root of this entire thing by including it in parentheses. And then let's get our decimal approximation. We should get a radius of approximately 3.8 inches. So we found the radius of our circle, which means that we can now find the circumference. So remember, our circumference formula is 2 times pi times r. So here we'll do 2, we'll use 3.14 for pi, and then we found the radius to be 3.8. So then we just multiply those numbers together, and we get a circumference of approximately 23.9 inches. And remember, circumference is just a difference, so a distance, so our unit should just be inches and not inches squared. Okay, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.